Hey, what's up? Continuing to cover some more films. I'm going to do more books, films, horror stuff, other cultural things, uh, and good comics for a change. Stuff that's older, stuff that's classic, stuff that's a little more obscure. So here's some films. There's no real binding theme to them. Maybe some themes of gender and historicism and whatnot, but I'll just go through them briefly. Patriotism is a short film. Okay, short film here. The famous Yukio Mishima, Japanese writer, modernist writer, I would say, who's also apparently a right-wing nationalist. This is a short film that he made. I think it's about 20 minutes or so. Uh, this based on a short story he wrote. Some kind of coup in the 30s. You had a bunch of super ultra nationalist Japanese military men who thought the emperor was cucking out already in the 30s. The coup failed and they were killed. And the stories of the one member of that group who they told not to take part in it, basically trying to wipe away his shame and his dishonor by committing seppuku. The short film is basically done in a very stylized manner, using the minimalist aesthetic of the No theater to show this officer committing seppuku, uh, being helped by his wife, who also does herself in. Now, of course, if you know Yukio Mishima, the surreal thing about this is that this man actually did this to himself. In 1970, he actually committed suicide after him and his small nationalist group actually uh, kidnapped JDF, Japanese Defense Force commander, and forced the troops, because they had him hostage, forced them to listen to him give a speech about returning the emperor to his rightful place as the ruler of Japan, amongst other things. Then he proceeded to do this with the help of, I believe, one of his homosexual lovers. Mishima was an open homosexual who also did his duty for his family and got married and had children. A very, very interesting man, man in between worlds, literally. But he did this to himself. The film, and this is cool, the Criterion thing here, they actually have it comes with a booklet that has the actual story in it, the original story. It also has the production notes and interview, and on here there's actually an audio speech given by Mishima in a more academic setting. He has very good English, and there he is. He portrays his own character. He's actually a bodybuilder, also amongst other things. And you see the set here. The set of the film, like I said, is the No theater minimalist aesthetic. There you have the kanji for patriotism. It's the one-handed deal. I guess I should get a tripod. I actually have I got myself a camera over the last couple of months, a Canon that shoots video, so I might start to do that. Also, the film, there's no dialogue. The background music is actually Wagner's, one of his operas, Tristan und Isolde. I guess I'm not pronouncing that right. I need to get into opera, but there's 100 things on the list, and I'm running out of time. Uh, it's a beautiful film, and the beauty of it is also contrasted with the utmost grueling realism of this horrific manner of suicide that he engages in. Seppuku was done as a way of showing that the suicide of the samurai doing it was not him trying to escape or escape from pain, Uh, it was the opposite. It was killing yourself in an extremely painful and inefficient manner to show a degree of mastery and will, even in death. Okay. I don't know how you can check this film out. I doubt it's on YouTube or for free, but it really is an amazing film visually, and the themes of it are very interesting as well. It's not didactic. It's almost ancient. It basically shows the what ancient world people like the Greeks and stuff also did. Okay, now it's fashionable. Some dissident right wing people are dissecting Mishima for many reasons, racial reasons, reasons of his sexuality, reasons of his fiction, which none of it really seems to really be nationalist or traditionalist. But the guy had essays and gave speeches about it, so he was all about those things. And also this, he's being viewed as everything from being insane to doing this for masochistic, sadomasochistic pleasure or publicity. Those things might be valid if he did himself in another fashion, but not like this. This man was not insane. He never showed signs of any kind of mental illness any time during his life. So anyway, that was Mishima. He also starred in a gangster film, which I haven't seen, and he adapted and starred briefly in another great Shochuko film. And I think the Shochuko people who worked for that studio actually helped him with this. This is technically an independent film. Uh, he starred in a film called The Black Lizard, which you could actually see on YouTube, which is a movie I'll go over at some point too. Very interesting film. Um, Patriotism, very powerful movie. Okay. And so now we have this. What is this? Cabaret. We're continuing the decadent theme, I guess. I remember watching this on TV as a kid. Okay. Now the thing about Cabaret, right, it's about Weimar Germany, right? It's based on a musical. There's some interesting things about this film. When it came out, or when the original source material came out, certain narratives were not entirely set in stone, let's say. And you see the characters here. Michael York, he's supposed to be this guy, Christopher Isherwood, who's a name that keeps popping up in different things I like, actually. I mean, narratives. And he's essentially a bisexual English writer going around Berlin. Of course, Liza Minnelli is one of his love interests. These are supposed to be the protagonists. These are supposed to be the folks today that you see exalted, the SJW demographic. When you watch this film, though, it's very, very interesting. Bob Fosse, director Bob Fosse, I believe he was a choreographer, but um, it's shot in an ultra realist style. The Weimar people all come off as very unlikable, ugly, creepy. Right? These two are. Uh, I mean, she's a woman of loose morals. The Liza Minnelli character, they're very unlikable, and they're very. I mean, the impish MC guy is actually kind of cool. He actually points out a lot of the follies, and the villains that you would assume are the villains in this, the certain political party. When you actually do see them, for the most part, when they do violence, they're actually doing it in retaliation to them being attacked. Okay? In fact, my favorite scene is when Michael York picks a fight with two SA guys and gets his ass kicked. Um, it's just you watch this. You actually have the other infamous scene where the young SA guy sings "The Tomorrow Belongs to Me." And it's supposed to be done to show the sinisterness of this certain party that's going to rise up. But when you contrast him, his performance, and the people who's singing along with him at the beer garden, contrasted to the ugly, decadent, repulsive people in the club. Well, it almost makes you wonder, what were they intending? Now we all know that they were probably intending what you would think they were. That the political party was absolute evil, and these are the plucky outsiders that you should root for. I totally, when you watch this though, you really don't get that. You get something very different. Let's just say. So very interesting film. Watch it if you're red pilled, and see what I'm talking about. And it was actually well done in many ways. Even the performances reminds me almost like an Otto Dix or George Gross, degenerate art come to life. And actually, I like Otto Dix's work. I don't like George Gross though. But anyway, that's Cabaret. Okay, now we'll switch it up. We'll go to this film, Lost Classic, The Hunley. What is this? This came out in 1999. Ted Turner produced it. It's about the first submarine in the history of the world to successfully attack its target during the Civil War. Right? And Armand Desante, who seems, miscast as a Confederate officer, Army officer actually, who led this attack, he actually does a pretty good job. Long story short, the Confederacy was outmatched in the naval department, but they made ironclads. Now, ironclads were, and Europeans had them, and they were common, but the Confederacy made them with very little resources or know-how and managed to use them to some effect. They also had torpedo boats and the fully submersible submarine, the Hunley. One of the things of this film is that you can't make a film like this now. Okay, the Confederacy, the whole movie is from their perspective, and it shows the bravery and courage of these men who go into this very dangerous weapon. The first two crews that do this, who test run it, drown, and these men volunteer for it. They show Charleston being bombarded by the Union blockade, and their attempt to get a shot in, so to speak. Charleston is a beautiful city. It's probably one of the most beautiful cities and safe southern cities I've ever been to. Charleston Bay is spectacular. And historically, this ship, the Hunley, actually blew up its target, one of the Union ships, but then disappeared. They finally found this ship around the time this movie came out, this submarine. They found it at the bottom of the Charleston Bay, and they raised it. Now, the movie has a very sad ending, of course. These men die kind of horribly. Spoiler, they drown themselves rather than suffocate because they're trapped at the bottom after the attack. In reality, when they found the bodies of the men, they were all still in their positions of a hand-powered submarine. It was a hand-powered submarine. Didn't even have an engine. The blast from the explosion, the shock waves killed these men instantly. And there's actually a beautiful memorial in the park of Charleston for these men. So, great film. Okay? And you're never going to have a film like this again because the Confederacy is absolute evil, and you can't show them as from anything from their perspectives. Okay? And rounding it out, what can I say? Stalker. A metaphysical science fiction film whose genesis and the filming of it is as interesting as the film in some ways. Varg likes this movie, or he likes, I guess, the games that came out of this. But this film is very Russian in spirit, very fatalistic. It's shot in black and white in the beginning, and then becomes color when these three men enter this mysterious alien zone. A zone where your wishes can come true. It's very slow. It's very atmospheric. It's shot in the former Soviet Union with a lot of abandoned buildings, a lot of growth, weeds overgrowing everything, toxic waste, beautiful surrealist photography, musings on faith, religiosity, which I can't, pronounce apparently, and everything here. And a number of the actors and the director actually died making this film years later because they're exposed to chemicals. Stalker, Fatalism, The Russian Spirit, Dos Vidanya,